Good morning, everyone. Yes, I did say morning. I did not get my video done last night. I did get my words done last night, but I did not get my video done last night. So welcome to day 2 of Novel November. Come on down because the coffee is strong. The campfire is bubbling. Well, no, I did that, but last night the campfire was going. And I'd have to say my typing accuracy is probably as good as a woodpecker trying to hack a typewriter. So today, again, I spent most of my time reacquainting myself with the characters, trying to find an excerpt, like I promised you guys I would do, and trying to remember all their goals, motivation, and conflicts. If you read book 1, Stone Destiny, which I highly recommend that you read it, it will definitely help you understand this vlog and the blog on my blog channel as well. Of course, I'm asking you to go buy my book. Yeah, so this is book 2. Remember, if I get book 2 written, and you're going to watch me and hold me accountable for it, if I get book 2 written, I'm going to put book 1 on Audible. I have already read book 1, and even if you haven't, you should know that, like the last time, there are 3 different storylines here. One is the heir, and that's heir as in H-E-I-R, the henge, and the realms. And each storyline is a little bit different POV, and all of them tie together to reach the goal of the story. It's kind of like juggling 3 jars of flammable oil. So I'm hoping that none of them falls on my head and sets me on fire. Wow, that's a really, really dark image, Teresa. Sorry about that. Anyway, I am sharing my first reading. The funny thing is that I've written several possible beginnings for this book. One from the standpoint of each of the storylines. One is rather dark and devastating, written from the POV of the bad guy. One leans into that mysticism of the realms and their disciplines and rankings. Another jumps right into the action of the henge with the 2 characters from the first book, who are going to remain throughout the entire series. Each book in the series will have a different focus, but the other characters will continue to be involved in the story as we go forward. So the one I'm going to read to you today, though, is from the standpoint of the heir. So let me give you kind of a rundown on that. So let's see here. I wrote this up so I could kind of shortly explain to you what this one's about. So Jessa, the main character in the heir storyline, has just escaped from a facility where she's been kept against her will. Not great. She's 7 months pregnant. She's barefoot. She's injured. And she's running through the snow toward the lights of a small airport where a doctor who helped her escape told her there'll be someone waiting there to help her. Okay, and the problem, which I think I already told you, is that she's bleeding, barefoot, and she's being hunted because they figured out that she was escaping at the time. The bad guys figured out. So here's the excerpt. This scene picks up right after she's made it out of the facility and when exhaustion and fear and hope all collide. So without further ado, here's an excerpt from Jessa's escape. They weren't too close, she consoled herself, but that certainly wouldn't last if she stopped moving. She looked again for the red light at the end of the string of white lights from the airport. It was much closer now. She'd have to start scanning for signs of the doctor's friend. She checked the area ahead for the next area of cover and saw an abandoned concrete water pipe nearly half her height, probably left over from construction of the airport. She ran for the pipe, keeping her head low. Then something on the ground gave way. Gasping in the frigid air, she strained to bring up her back foot even faster to get it planted before she sank further into the hole that had trapped her foot. Her knee buckled, hands hit hard and slid over the frozen ground. Her head bounced against the frosted remnants of milkweed and thistle, a meager cushion against ground as hard as concrete. The breath slammed out of her. She reached to find down as her head spun, clawed furrows in the icy dirt, and willed her body to remember how to draw air. The baby pushed against her bladder and her lungs as she gasped and tried to roll. Her lungs had forgotten how to draw air, and her belly was already crushed by the little life kicking at her bladder in protest. She stopped trying to get up and focused instead on arching her back. She pushed her shoulders back against the cold, wet ground and tried to force her hips up beneath her. Agonizing seconds passed, and then the air rushed in on a gasp. She rolled to her knees. Close. Achoo! Excuse me? They were so close now. Achoo! Let's try that again. Close. They were so close now. She saw blood dripping on the ground. Her blood. The dogs would certainly find that. She felt the blood oozing down the side of her face, reached to swipe it away, and then stopped. Better to leave her hands clean, she thought. No sense leaving a trail of blood on everything she touched. She pulled herself up, stumbled away from the blood, She turned her head and saw the lights. She wasn't sure she could run anymore. She aimed for the closest one, started to jog. Her ankle buckled, and she landed on her backside. Mother of crackers! The horizon tilted as her head whiplashed from the fall. She bit back a whimper. Okay, no running. Hide? Right, hide. Did they have dogs? She looked up, trying to remember if they had dogs. If they have dogs, I'm screwed, she told the moon. She heard a yelp in the difference, a short bark followed by a howl. I'm screwed, she said as nausea had her weaving again. Hide, 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 she whispered to herself. She headed into a patch of bramble and shadow. Jessa crouched and then crawled, pulling her hood in tighter around her face, crawling to the abandoned pipe behind the dead stalks of high grass and weeds. She propped herself against it and thought of crawling inside. But there was no use in that. They would find her. They had the dogs. She needed a moment, just a moment to think. Her left foot was freezing. She'd lost her boot when she fell. It was somewhere in the grass. The dogs would find it. And her hands. Her hands were tingling, but not from the cold. She was hyperventilating, her body drawing in breaths as fast and deep as it could. She had to slow it down. She had to think. Hide, 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 she whispered. Then went still at the sound of crackling and shifting nearby. She heard the dogs, the voices. They were too damn close. Just a minute. She needed a minute. She put her hand to her chest, willing herself to take slow breaths, fighting the darkness that gathered in her peripheral vision. Breathe. Slow. Too close. And now she had only one slipper. The airport was still too damn far. Slow down, damn it, slow. She put her hand over her nose and mouth, trying to breathe in more carbon dioxide and less oxygen, trying to disguise the sound of her gasping breaths. But the louder her pursuers became, the faster her heart beat, and the more quickly the darkness closed in. She tried to think herself smaller, to think her thoughts more quietly, to think herself invisible. Her head wobbled on her neck. She could no longer think of a single reason to continue to hold it up. She heard a rustle in the dead grass not 4 feet away and froze. The grass parted, and all she could see in her tunneling vision was a pair of amber-gray eyes and a tawny muzzle full of teeth sinking toward her. The grass parted, and all she could see was a pair of amber-gold eyes and a tawny muzzle full of teeth slinking toward her. Jessa stopped breathing, pulled her in her knees to cover her belly. The dog sniffed at her, growled when she flinched away, then sniffed at her belly. Jessa wasn't afraid, not of the teeth. She was in far more danger from the dog's masters. Odd that it wasn't alerting. She was dizzy, so dizzy. Her head. She felt herself sliding against the pipe. She just needed to close her eyes for a minute. She was caught. Almost caught. She knew it, but she had to rest just for a minute. She heard the other dogs arrive, their crazed barks, the shouting of the men, howls and growls and barks, yips, the sounds of fighting. The dogs were fighting and some men were yelling, but she had to close her eyes for a minute. Just for a minute. She was so cold. She shook her head and forced her eyes open. She saw the face of an old man. He stood in profile against the light of a fire and then turned to look at her. Had he been howling? Ridiculous idea. She was dozing off again. "I'm taking you to friends," he said. Jessa opened her mouth to protest. "The doctor sent me." His eyes seemed to change from yellow amber to muddy green as he smiled. His beard seemed to grow more trim as he stepped further into the light. "I'm taking you to friends, where you'll be safe," he said again. I love this scene. What gets me most, though, isn't the danger so much as that ending. She has to decide right now whether or not to trust this man, this stranger. And that's kind of the theme that runs through all of the storylines. It's all about trust, trust after fear. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. What do you think of this as a beginning to the novel? Does it draw you in, or does it push you away, saying too much, too fast, or maybe too soon? I'm going to read you all of the different beginnings that I have put together for this. A couple of them I still have to write. And after I share them all with you, I'm going to put up a poll so you guys can help me decide which one might be the best intro to this novel. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'm sorry, I keep bouncing the thing. My apologies. Put your thoughts in the comments below. I'd really, really like to hear what you think about this. And if you're writing for November 2, I would love to hear how you're dealing with your beginnings. Thanks for hanging out with me on day 2. Well, it's actually day 3 because I didn't, on day 3 of November. I'll have another video out later today after I've done my words and all that kind of stuff. And tomorrow I will share another beginning from another storyline. I'm Teresa Nash, and this is The Destinies. Just remember, fate may choose you, but you choose your destiny. See you tomorrow. Bye.